Welcome. In this video, I'll be demonstrating how to perform Metasploit Framework workflows as well as how to do Nmap scans. So I have the description of both of this. I've done a simple Google search for Nmap. Let me switch on to AI mode. So Nmap or Network Mapper is a free and open source tool used for network discovery and security auditing. It uses raw IP packets to identify what devices are on the network and to see the service versions they are running and what operating system they use. So it basically checks for all these services and so the core capabilities include host discovery, so discovering live hosts on the network, port scanning, scanning for open ports, service and version detection, like fingerprinting the application name, version number, OS fingerprinting, and Nmap, Nmap scripting engine. So identifying the operating system as well as automating the tasks such as vulnerability detection and advanced network discovery using Lua scripts. So these are some of the examples, and I'll be explaining how to use this. So let's switch to Metasploit Framework. So Metasploit Framework is a powerful open source penetration testing platform maintained by Rapid7. So Rapid7 is the company which maintains Metasploit Framework, designed for developing, testing, and executing exploit code using remote targets against remote targets. It supports the full attack lifecycle, providing thousands of exploits, payloads, and modules for security professionals to validate vulnerabilities. So it provides exploits, payloads, and modules. So those are the integral parts of Metasploit framework. So this is so Metasploit framework is an open source penetration testing platform, and it provides exploits, payloads, and modules to validate vulnerabilities that exist in the application. So the modules, these are the number of exploits modules and post exploitation modules that are present, and the payloads. So payload can be generated using Msfvenom, and payload is essentially a malware or a backdoor which we create. And interface, so we have command line interface such as MSF console and GUI for Metasploit Pro, and workflow. So workflow, I'll be explaining how to perform workflow in the further part. So how to workflow is essentially how MSF console works and how to perform exploitation methods using MSF console. That is the workflow. So we'll be dealing with the box called Devel, and let's start an Nmap scan. So Nmap the scan, and let's copy the target and paste the target, and let's call it devel.nmap, devel underscore ports.nmap. So essentially what you're doing is we're scanning for all the 65,535 ports with dash b dash option and double dash open, which is scanning on which scans only open ports, and min rate of 4,000, and save it in nmap format for as devel underscore ports dot nmap, and specify the target. So dash triple v is for verbose mode, and let's hit enter. So we discovered two ports, which is port 21 as well as port 80. And let's visit port 80, and let's hit enter. So we get this website which says Internet Information Service IIS IIS 7. So this looks like a Windows default web page, and we have two ports open, so that's confirmed. So port 80 HTTP. So now let's do another Nmap scan. Let's do a stealth scan with default scripts and service versions. Let's specify the target, and after we specify the target, we name it as Devil, and we delete all these ports, and we specify essentially 21 and 80. So 21 comma 80, and we hit enter, and let this run for a while. So let's try to do FTP anonymous login. We type anonymous as the username and blank password. So hit enter and we get FTP. So what this Nmap scan is about is we perform a SYN scan or a half skin scan, SYN scan, and we do a default scripts as well as service version detection and specify the ports 21 and 80, and we give it a verbose mode, and we save it in all format as Devel, and we specify the target. So now essentially we have 21 and we get a little bit of directories as well as web pages as well as a PNG file. And let's do ls. So it's confirmed that these pages exist. Let's see what's there in ASP.NET client, and looks like some more directories, and it looks like directories. I don't think that's the intended path. So let's go back to home and let's do ls. So let's copy this and check whether this FTP share is connected to the web. So yes, it is connected to the web, and let's do welcome.png. Let's copy this and let's paste it. So it's the same image that exists in the application. So now let's create a file and let's see whether we have writable permissions. Before that, let me delete some of the not uh, which are not needed, some of the files which are not needed. So let's do nano hello.html and let's type in FTP. FTP is writable, and FTP is writable. So we give a plus, and if FTP is writable, we have to check that. So let's save this. Control O, Control X to save and exit. And now essentially we have to put this file to check whether it's writable. So let's do put hello.html, and the transfer is complete. And let's check whether it's reflected in the website. Let's do hello.html, and yes, we get this FTP is writable check. So essentially now what you need to do is we need to create a payload using Msfvenom and upload it using FTP and catch the reverse shell using MSF console. So that is the general ideology behind what whatever exploit we are doing. So MSF Venom is a powerful standalone command line tool within the Metasploit framework used to generate, encode, and customize payloads for exploitation. So it is used to generate and exploits and generate the payload, which we will catch in MSF console. So let's do MSF Venom, and let's change the name of this to welcome.aspx, welcome page.aspx. Let's do if config, and let's copy the IP address and change our L port. Sorry, change our L host, and So we are doing Msfvenom -p for specifying the payload, Windows Interpreter reverse TCP. So it is platform, payload type, and connection type, and -f to specify the file format, which is aspx, and lhost, we specify our lhost, we specify our lport, which is 1234, and we redirect this payload to a file named welcome page.aspx, and let's hit enter. So the payload is getting generated, and let's wait for a while. So the payload is generated, and it is 2891 bytes, so 2.8 kbs. Let's do ls, and we have a welcome page.aspx. So let's do put welcome page.aspx, and I think the connection has closed. Let's exit, and let's do an anonymous login again. Let's type in anonymous, and let's blank hit blank password, and let's do put web welcome page.aspx, and the transfer is complete. So now let's fire up MSF console. So we need to start MSF console, and next we have to wait till the MSF console loads. So essentially what you'll be doing is, now we have delivered the payload to the particular web page, and we have loaded our MSF console. Now let's do a search. So to get any of the modules, we do a search, space the particular exploit we are using, or the module which we need to use. We do search exploit/multi, and we get a bunch of modules. So we need to be more specific. So exploit/multi/handler, and we get this fourth module, which is exploit multi-handler. So to use this module, we type use space the module name, and we get the module loaded in the MSF console. And let's do options. So let's set lhost. So whatever is required, we need to set that. So let's specify lhost. Whatever's there in the option which is specified as required is yes, we have to set that. And let's set lport as 1234. So remember, that was the particular lhost and lport which we specified while generating the payload. And let's specify the payload. So we paste this payload, and we set the payload as well. And let's go to another terminal and type in sudo UFW, which is my uncomplicated firewall. We are disabling the firewall so that the machine connects back to us. And firewall stopped. So now let's change our date and time using NTP date. And so it will change the particular date and time. Yeah. So now let's hit run, and the handler will start. So handler is just a listener, and let's copy this, and let's do curl, and let's do web page dot aspx. So let's delete this, and let's do web page dot ax. Oh, sorry, it is welcome page dot aspx. So now let's hit enter. Let's hit run first, and this will essentially start a TCP handler on the specified IP as well as port. So on the L host and L port which we specified. So the payload was Windows interpreter reverse TCPs, and we specified the L host, we specified the L port. So whichever was required, we specified that, and we changed the payload as well. So TCP handler is started, and we interact with the particular web shell, and we are receiving a connection back. So we're sending the particular stage to this particular IP address, which is our target IP address, and we got a Metasploit session. Let's do get UID, and we are IIS apple dot slash web. So that is the server username, and let's get a shell, and let's do who am I. So we'll get the username, and let's do server username, and let's do host name. We'll get the host name as Devel, and let's do ipconfig slash all, and we get the IP configurations. So this is our machine's IP as well. So that means we have gained access as IIS web app, web pool, whatever that was, and so we got a shell. Now we need to do privilege escalation. So this was the initial access. So let me background this, and let's do sessions, and we'll get this session. If you want to go to the particular session after you background it, so do sessions one, and you will enter that particular session, and let's do background again. So let's do get UID first, and let's do background to background the interpreter session. So now let's search for local exploit suggester. So that is particularly for Windows to do privilege escalation. That particular module is loaded. So we can either use this or just specify use 0, and that particular module will be loaded. So let's do show options. So to see the options of this module, we are doing show options, and let's set the session as 1, and let's run it. So to collect all the experts, and it will take a bit of time to run this. So let's do methodology.txt. So what I demonstrated was all about MSF console workflow. So that was the workflow, like searching the module, using the module, then setting the options, and setting the payload, setting everything in the options, and then running the exploit at last. So that was the particular workflow, and backgrounding the session. That was all the workflow. So we created a payload using Msfvenom and did a MSF console workflow. So using Msfvenom, we created an aspx web shell. Sorry, aspx spelling is wrong. So we created a aspx web shell and upload that using FTP. Then we started MSF console. Right after we delivered our exploit to the particular website, We started MSF console and use the module exploit multi-handler or just multi-handler. So we use this particular module to start listener, right? So to start listening, and we set our lhost as well as lport and also the payload. So these generally while using MSF Venom to create a payload, we'll be setting these three options, which is lhost, lport, as well as payload for the particular exploit multi-handler, and other options if any of them are there. Please set it, which is required, and hit run and enter run. So this is how to start a handler. So handler can be anything like a netcat handler, which we usually do to get the web shells, such as nc-nlvp 4444 to start a listener, netcat listener on 4444, and the handler will be set the same way we are using MSF console to start the handler. Now trigger the payload using the curl command and just visit the particular payload. Now, after you hit the curl command, you got a shell. Now, background this, right? So, we need to background the session. If you want to background the session, just hit background and hit enter. And after you background the session, what you did was particularly you did search for local exploit suggester and you found that particular module and you set the session and ran your exploit. Now you set the session and ran the module. So let's select one of these particular positive Prevesk paths. So this is a Prevesk path, the module. And let's select this kit wrap 0D. Looks like my battery is low. Okay. And now let's select one module from the local exploit suggester. For example, this particular module, and what we need to do is so after you select that, use that module and set options such as set session and run to get the administrative shell or administrative interpreter session, which you can convert later to shell. So this is the complete exploit path which you need to take from basic initial access till post exploitation technique till previous path. So let's do use this particular module and let's do options, and we have session which is required. So let's do set lhost first. So let's select our lhost. So let's copy this. So let's set lhost and let's do options again, and let's set lport as let the lport be the same way. Let's set session as 1 and let's run the exploit. So it started the reverse TCP handler on this particular IP and port. So it's injecting the payload and triggering the bug. launching NetSH to host the DLL, process 3760 launched, reflectively injecting the DLL. So it's doing a DLL injection, dynamic link library injection, and it is trying to finish, get administrative shell. So it's hopefully for privilege escalation shell, and let's check which shell we got. So we get an anti-authority system. So let's do shell, and we get a shell. Let's do MI. We get anti-authority system, and let's do host name. We'll get Devel, and let's do ipconfig/all to view whether we get the right IP configurations. Yes, we get that particular IP configuration, which is 10.129.27.50, and we get all this information. Now, what we need to do is let's do a shell, and let's get root.txt. So let's catch the directory users and administrator and desktop, and now let's do type root.txt, and we will get the particular hash, so we can submit this to the particular machine of hack the box. So that was it from my side. So I hope you learned how to use basic Metasploit framework as well as Nmap scans. So keep on watching my videos. You have my playlist, which is Red Team Operations and Ethical Hacking. So thank you. Please subscribe to the channel.